Next is the kingdom fungi. So according to R.H. Whitaker's 5 kingdom classification, the fungi are kept under a separate kingdom, and that is the kingdom fungi. So all the members of this kingdom fungi are heterotrophs, that is they depend on other organisms for their food, that is they depend on the dead and decayed organic matter for their food. These fungi show diversity in their morphology. In the external character, if you see, we can see a lot of diversity, varieties are there, and even in their habitat, the place where live also varies from fungi to fungi. Okay, even in our house also we can see the fungi growing. Suppose if you are having a piece of bread or dosa, you moist it and keep it for 2 days, you can see the fungi growing on that. How this fungi will be growing on that? The spores can be seen everywhere. That spore, when it comes in contact with the moist surface, that is the moist bread or moist dosa, it will be growing. Okay, or even you can see the fungi in rotten fruits. So the fruits which are decaying, which begins to decay, in that also the moisture content will be there. There also you can see the fungi growing. Okay, even in the plants also you can see, suppose if a mustard plant is there, if it is having white spots on their leaves, then it is due to the parasitic fungi. Okay, if white spots are seen on the leaf of mustard plant, it is due to the parasitic fungi. Okay, some of these fungi are unicellular in nature and others are multicellular. For example, yeast is a unicellular fungi. The scientific name is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. It is a unicellular fungi. Okay, and this unicellular fungi is used in producing various household products or industrial products also. One among that is the bread. So when we want to prepare bread, we use the wheat flour, and there we can add a little yeast so that a puffy appearance will be produced, isn't it, due to the liberation of more amount of carbon dioxide. So for that yeast can be added. So for making the bread, yeast is used. Okay, and in the industrial purpose we can say yeast can be used in the preparation of beverages like this beer. So this can be produced by the fermentation of yeast. Okay, so these are some of the products which are produced by the yeast. Okay, now even various diseases are caused by this fungi in plants as well as in animals. One disease is rust disease. Rust is there, or even smut disease is there. These are caused by fungi. One of the fungi, parasitic fungi by name Puccinia, it causes the disease called rust in wheat. So the disease is wheat rust. Okay, it causes the rust disease in wheat. Even in human beings also we can say various skin diseases are caused by the fungi. One example is the ringworm. Ringworm means it is not a worm, it is the name of the disease which is caused by fungi in human beings. Okay, so it is actually a skin disease, and it is caused due to the genus like Trichoderma, Trichophyton, Epidermophyton, etc. Okay, so like that we can say it causes, the fungi causes various diseases in animals as well as in plants. Now this fungi can also be used for producing antibiotics. So you are familiar with an antibiotic called penicillin. So this penicillin antibiotic is produced by a fungi called Penicillium notata. Okay, so Penicillium notatum is a fungi which causes which is responsible for the production of the antibiotic called penicillin. Okay, Penicillium notatum is there, Penicillium chrysogenum is there. They are responsible for the production of penicillin, which is used as a very good effective antibiotic against various bacterial diseases. Okay, so like that, so many useful and harmful effects are there caused to plants and animals by the fungi. Okay, now see, you all know that the food, when it is kept in our house for a long time, will get spoiled, isn't it? Today if you are cooking a food and if you keep it the next day, you can see it will be spoiled. So what is the reason for that? It is spoiled due to the presence of bacteria or fungi which is present in our surrounding. Okay, So the bacteria or fungi which are in our surrounding will enter inside. So from where it come, where they come and enter into the food, the surrounding air itself, the fungi will be seen in the form of spores. Okay, their spores will be present, very minute. We may not be able to see it. So as it is in the air, we are not able to see it. It can easily attach with the food material and it can spoil the food. Okay, so not only the fungi is responsible for spoiling the food, the bacteria can also spoil the food. That's why we prefer to keep the food in refrigerators. In refrigerator, as the temperature is very less, the food will not be spoiled. Okay, now when we see about the characteristics of the cell nature of the fungi, it is having a long, slender, thin, slender structure called the hyphae. That is, the spores, when it develops into a fungi, it will be developing into like this, a long, slender, very thin structure, hair-like structure or thread-like structure, and that is called as what? A hyphae. So such filamentous structures are called as hyphae. But these filamentous structures or these hyphae will not be seen as a single structure. Okay, it will be going on branching, or it produces a large number of such structures, and all this network of hyphae are called as mycelium. So what is mycelium? The network of hyphae. Okay, this network of hyphae is called as mycelium. Okay, and when we see about this hyphae, the hyphae may be cenocytic or non-septate, or it can be septate. What is meant by cenocytic hyphae? In some fungi, if you see, it will be having a long tubular hyphae with a mass of protoplasm and many nuclei in it. Okay, so what is present in some of the hyphae? It is having a continuous mass of cytoplasm. Protoplasm means cytoplasm and nucleus together. We can say it as protoplasm. So it is having a mass of protoplasm, or we can say a mass of cytoplasm with many nuclei in it. That means it is multinucleate. Many nuclei is present in it. And such a hyphae, we can say it as cenocytic hyphae, because no cross wall is present in between the nuclei. Okay, normally in a cell one nuclei will be there, but here it will be not seen as a single cell. It is tubular in nature, tube-like structure. So it is having a mass of cytoplasm with many nuclei, and such a hyphae is called as cenocytic hyphae. And as it is not having any cross wall in between them, it is said to be as non-septate. What is septum? Septum is singular, septa is plural. What is that? It is the cross wall. Septum means what? A cross wall. So as cross wall is absent, we can also say it as non-septate hyphae. Okay, but some of the hyphae are having cross walls in between them. So when a cross wall is present here, it acts as a different cell. Isn't it? When a cross wall is present here, these two can be considered as two different cells. Then this is another cell. Like that, we can differentiate into different cells. Okay. So such hyphae are called as septate hyphae. Okay. So aseptate means they are not having a cross wall in between the nuclei, and they are having a mass of cytoplasm with many nuclei in it. Okay, that is cenocytic hyphae or non-septate hyphae. Now, when the hyphae is having cross wall between the nuclei, then we can say it as a septate hyphae. Okay. Now, when we see the cell wall of this fungi, it is made up of chitin as well as various other polysaccharide. Polysaccharide, normally cellulose will be there. Okay. So it is made up of chitin as well as a polysaccharide. Cell wall of fungi is made up of chitin and polysaccharide. What is polysaccharide? Poly means many, saccharide means sugar. So the carbohydrate which is having many sugar molecule is said to be as polysaccharide. Okay. Now, as I told earlier, the fungi are heterotrophs, isn't it? They depend on other organisms for their food, and they are said to be as saprophytes. These heterotrophic fungi are said to be saprophytes. Why they are said to be saprophytes? Because they get their food from organic, dead and decayed organic matter. Okay, so the dead substance or decaying substance which is present on the soil surface, that will be taken up as food by the heterotrophic fungi. So they are called as saprophytes. Okay, saprophytes means they are organisms which get their food or obtain their food from the dead and decayed organic matter. Okay, so normally some of these fungi will be secreting some enzymes in the surrounding dead and decayed organic matter, and that soluble, that digested soluble nutrients, organic nutrients, will be absorbed by these fungi. Okay, and some of them live as parasites also. Okay, so they are free living fungi are there, and some of them live as parasites. Parasites means what? They live on the body of other organisms and absorb the food from their body. Okay, so they can act as parasites. We have seen parasitic fungi called Puccinia causes diseases, isn't it? Or even I told about the ringworm, which is caused in human beings. Yes, then some of the fungi act as symbionts also. That means they will form symbiotic association with some other organisms. Okay, so they can live as what? Symbionts. Symbionts means what? The members which form symbiotic association is called symbionts. So what is that symbiotic association? When two different types of organisms live together, that we can say it as symbiotic association. Okay, so here the fungi will live with some other organism. So one example is lichens. So lichens is an association between fungi and blue-green algae or cyanobacteria. So when these two, see, these two are entirely different organisms, but they are living together. When they live together, they will be mutually benefited. That is symbiotic association. So they will be mutually benefited. What do you mean by mutually benefited? Both of them will get benefit from each other. That is, the lichen will get food from the algae, that is cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria can prepare their own food because you know cyanobacteria are having what? Pigments in them. So with the help of that pigments, they will be preparing the food material. That food will be provided to the fungi. Now on the other hand, the fungi will be providing a medium for attachment. That is, it helps in attachment of that lichens along with the bacteria to any substratum. Okay, to any substratum it helps to attach. Substratum means what? Any object on which any organism attach, that is called a substratum. So this lichens, the fungi of the lichens help the algae to attach with the with any substratum or to any surface. Then it also provides protection to the algae or the cyanobacteria. That is another function, another what beneficial effect obtained by the algae from the fungi. Okay, so that is lichens. So fungi and bacteria, cyanobacteria live together. Then another symbiotic association is the mycorrhiza. Myco means fungi, rhiza means roots. Okay, myco means fungi and rhiza means roots. So here the fungi is found in association with the root of higher plants. Okay, it will be living in the root of higher plants. So in higher plants, sometimes the plants may not be able to absorb enough nutrients from the soil, and they may not be able to get water also from the soil because the roots have to move deeper, very deep into the soil. In such cases, this fungi will be growing on the surface of the root, and they will be just like a root, they also will be growing. And what happens? It will be absorbing the water and phosphorus, especially phosphorus or other nutrients from the soil, and provide it to the plants. And the plants in turn will provide the food which is synthesized by them to this fungi. Thus both are benefited in mycorrhiza. Okay, I hope you might have understood this. When we see about the reproduction of the kingdom fungi, the fungi can reproduce vegetatively, asexually and sexually. Vegetatively, they reproduce by fragmentation, fission and budding. Fragmentation means what? The hyphae will be dividing into fragments, and this fragments, each fragment can develop into a new fungi. Fission means a single cell can divide into two, and thus each one cell will be producing two daughter cells. So two fungi can be produced. Okay. Then another is what? Budding. Budding means from normally in yeast we can see that the single celled yeast will be forming a small bud due to the projection of its cell wall or that cytoplasm. A small projection will be formed, and later in the inside that also cytoplasm will be there, then a nuclei will be there and organelles will be there, and thus it will get separated when it is matured and it develops into a new fungi or a new yeast. Okay. So these are the three methods by which the fungi reproduce vegetatively. Then asexually they reproduce by producing spores. What are the spores which are produced asexually? So here only one parent is involved, and from that parental hyphae spores can be produced. So the name of these spores which are produced asexually are Conidia, Sporangiosperms or zoospores. Okay. Similarly, by sexual reproduction also they reproduce by producing spores, but the names here are different. Okay. Why? Because here two different hyphae are involved, or two individuals are involved in sexual reproduction. Okay. And the spores which are produced are oospores, ascospores, basidiospores. Oospores are normally produced by Phycomycetes. Ascospores are produced by the group called Ascomycetes, and Basidiospores are produced by the group of fungi called Basidiomycetes. Okay, so these are the spores which are produced sexually by the different groups of fungi. Okay, now actually these spores will be produced in the fruiting bodies. Okay. Fruiting body, just like already we have seen that, isn't it? That is just like in a plant a fruit is formed, and inside the fruit the seeds are developing. Like that in this fungi a fruiting body will be formed. So this diagram is a fruiting body. Okay, so this is a fruiting body. In that what is formed? The spores are formed. Okay, the spores can be formed exogenously outside, or it can be formed inside. Then it will be released out. Okay, so this is the fruiting body. Okay, so in that fruiting body only these spores will be formed. Now when we see about the sexual cycle, it is having 3 steps. Okay, if a fungi is undergoing sexual reproduction, it follows 3 steps. What are the 3 steps? First is plasmogamy. What is plasmogamy? Gamy means fusion. Plasm means protoplasm. Fusion of protoplasm is called plasmogamy. Okay, so 2 cells will come together. One from one hyphae of one fungi and another cell from another hyphae of another fungi will join together. Then they fuse and they form what? Spores. Okay. Otherwise we can say from one fungi each cell can differentiate into gamete. Okay. One cell can differentiate into a gamete, which we consider it as a male gamete. If it is having a flagella, it will be capable of movement and it can be considered as a motile gamete. Okay, normally male gametes we can say it as motile gametes, and another gamete which is produced in another hypha, that is one of that cell will differentiate into a gamete, and that we can say it as the female gamete. Normally it will not be moving, it will remain in that hypha itself. Okay, so these 2 cells, that is the male and the female gamete, will join together and their protoplasm will be mixing together. Otherwise 2 cells of the 2 hyphae, nearby hyphae, which belongs to 2 different fungi will join together and their cells will fuse, and as a result their protoplasm will be fusing. But Gamete means fusion, isn't it? Protoplasm will be fusing, but the nucleus will not fuse. Then later only, the second step only, what is it? Karyogamy. Karyon means what? Nucleus. Gamete means fusion. So next, the fusion of nucleus occurs. As a result of this nuclear fusion, a zygote will be formed. See, normally the fungi are having haploid body. What do you mean by haploid body? Their body or their parental cells are haploid in nature. They will be having only one set of chromosomes in them. Now, when two cells fuse together, one set plus one set will become diploid. That means two set of chromosomes will be there in the zygote. So, male gamete fuses with the female gamete. As a result, a zygote is formed, and the zygote will be having two set of chromosomes in it. Okay. Now, it is diploid in nature. So, normally a diploid zygote cannot develop into a new fungi. Okay, so what happens? The third step occurs. What is the third step? Meiosis occurs in zygote. Okay, so as a result of this meiosis, you know, meiotic division will lead to the formation of haploid cells. Okay, meiosis is a division which leads to the formation of haploid cells. What is haploid cells? Haploid cells are having one set of chromosome. Okay, for example, with the human beings, if I say we are diploid organism, our cells are having 46 chromosomes, or we can say 23 pairs of chromosomes. This is what we say it as diploid. Okay, but when a gamete is formed, and a male gamete is formed or a female gamete is formed, it will be formed as a result of meiotic division. What is meiosis? It is reduction division. That means the number of chromosomes will be reduced to half in the gametes. So what is our normal chromosome in our normal cell? 46. So what is the half of that? It is 23. Okay, 23 pairs or 46 is the diploid normal chromosome in our body cell. Its half is only 23. Okay, so that is formed as a result of meiotic division. So the gametes will be always having haploid number of chromosome in human beings or in higher organism. But if you take this lower organism like fungi, their body is already haploid in nature. All their body cells are haploid in nature. That means they are having only one set of chromosomes in them. Okay, so if they are having one set of chromosome, again reduction division cannot take place. Again it cannot be reduced to half. Okay, so that means, for example, if a fungi is having 26 chromosomes, what is the half of it? 13 is the half, isn't it? So you assume the fungal body is having 13 chromosomes. The main fungal body is having 13 chromosomes. Again, can it be reduced to half? Then if you reduce to half, how it will be? 6.5. Can a 6.5 chromosome can exist? It cannot. So it will not be like that. So in fungi, as their parental body is haploid, they produce gametes by mitosis only. One cell will divide and form a male gamete by mitosis. So same haploid number of chromosome will be there in the gamete. Okay, so male gamete will be having haploid chromosome, female gamete will be having haploid chromosome. When they join together, they become diploid zygote. When a male gamete fuses with the female gamete, it becomes a diploid zygote. So diploid zygote cannot develop into a fungi. Why? Because generally the fungal body is haploid in nature. So how to make it haploid? So meiosis occurs in zygote. As a result of meiosis in zygote, what will be formed? Haploid spores will be formed. Okay, this haploid spores, when they fall onto the soil and when they germinate, it germinates into a haploid fungi. Okay, so this is how meiosis occurs in zygote to form a haploid fungi. Okay, now this haploid fungi or this haploid spores will be developing into a haploid fungi. Isn't it? Immediately after a spore is formed, it can be released into the surrounding and it develops into a new fungi. Sometimes what happens when normally plasmogamy, I told you, when two fungal cells will come and join together, they will fuse and then what will be formed? A zygote will be formed, isn't it? Otherwise, two gametes will fuse together and a zygote is formed, isn't it? And immediately after the zygote formation, that is the diploid cell formation, what happens? Meiosis occurs and spores will be formed. Sometimes when after the plasmogamy occurs, that is when two cells fuse together, it becomes a cell with two nuclei, isn't it? After plasmogamy occurs, when two cells are fusing together, only the protoplasm will be mixing and immediately the nuclei will not be mixing. So these cells will be having two nuclei in it. So in some fungi, in this two nucleate stage, the fungi will be growing. Okay, and that two nucleate cell is called dikaryon, and that phase is said to be as dikaryophase. Di means two, karyon means nuclei. So cell with the two nuclei is a dikaryon, and that phase of growth of fungi with the dikaryon is called the dikaryophase. So with the two nuclei, the fungi will be growing for some period of time. And when there is an onset of unfavorable condition, then what will happen? This dikaryophase or this dikaryon will develop into a fruiting body. Okay, it will fuse, the two nuclei will fuse and it forms a zygote which develops into a fruiting body. And in this fruiting body, what happens? The zygote will undergo meiosis and it produces haploid spores. Okay, the zygote will develop into, okay, the zygote will undergo meiosis and it develop into haploid spores. Is it clear? I hope you are able to follow. So a dikaryon and a dikaryophase will be exhibited by some of the fungi only. For example, if you take Basidiomycetes, one of the group called Basidiomycetes, in that we can see this dikaryon or this dikaryophase, or even in Ascomycetes also. Okay, which produce the spores called ascospores or the basidiospores. Okay, so here a dikaryon or a dikaryophase is there, and then it will fuse together. It forms a diploid zygote, and this diploid zygote will be developing into a fruiting body in which the zygote undergoes meiotic division, and as a result haploid spores will be formed. Okay, now based on the morphology of the mycelium, that is whether it is septate or aseptate, then based on the mode of the spore formation, that is asexually or sexually, and based on the fruiting bodies produced in them, the fungi is divided into various classes. Okay, so about that in the next class we can see.